Hello, hello, everybody.
All right, welcome back. I see some faces coming back on. Welcome, good morning. Would love to see you with your cameras on if possible today. Totally get it if not. But welcome back, you guys. Thanks for being here early and first. All right, we got to share some wins and some takeaways from yesterday. All right. So I would love to hear your takeaway. Like, what is something you took action on yesterday in the chat? Hopefully you were able to join us yesterday. If not, hopefully you had an opportunity to watch the replay that we sent out yesterday. We will record, we will send out a replay of today as well. But let's have some hands go up. I would love to hear, what was your action item if you took action on something, and even better, if you did your boutique traffic formula. I would love to hear your numbers and what you learned from doing that formula for your business. All right, we're going to get into it. HP's Poshmark. Let's hear it.
I learned I really need to work on my Google stuff. I didn't do the numbers, but I know how much I need to like make a month and a day. I mean, I can budget, but the Google thing really because now we have like a train coming through here from Minneapolis to Chicago. So I get a lot of people that come off the train and they're looking for stuff. And if they're coming to Winona, they want, things to do. So I need to up my game on the Google.
For
Awesome.
sure. Yes, I like it.
So you've got your sales numbers. How much traffic do you need to achieve those sales numbers?
I know that I need to do at least 200 a day. But I would like to be doing 2 to 3. I mean, and I know Saturdays are going to be more busy. But if that's my average, that pays bills, that pays credit cards, that pays for new inventory. So if I'm doing more on a Saturday, which of course the Saturdays are always busier in a smaller town, especially like touristy, then I know what I need to do. I just need to push myself to get a little bit on the next level.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good. Baselines are always good. All right. Who else? I see Mary Hill joined us. Hello, Miss Mary.
All right. Who else has a takeaway from yesterday? Let's hear it, guys. What action did you take? I'm going to call on you. I see your faces. All right. Kayla Benson. Let's hear it. Oh, you're still muted.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Yesterday, so Mondays we're not usually open, but yesterday we got to have a lunch meeting after our training to discuss some things that we want to add. We have to up our Google game for sure. And then just some things that we haven't been doing that we've wanted to implement that we have not is like email lists that we want to do. And the door tracker, we are a brick and mortar and an online. So we want to count our people coming in the door to try and figure out our numbers as well. We have an idea of what we'd like to have a day and per month, but just to kind of have an actual number in mind.
So helpful. Only a tracked number grows, right?
Yes.
Makes such a difference to know exactly what those numbers are. Good. Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else? Let's hear one more takeaway from yesterday. What action are you putting into place? What action are you taking? Let's go with Birdie's Boutique. Birdie's Boutique. I see you there. Oh, we're still muted. I'm going to have you unmute.
Unmute. Okay. I met with Josh from Capital Commerce yesterday after listening to the replay and everything. And I didn't do my numbers, but we're going on. We're just brick and mortar now. We're going online, and Josh is going to help us. And it is, it's not cheap, but I said I can't afford not to do it. So we're going online, and we're going to go online with the bang.
Good. That's awesome. We love Josh. He's a great partner here at the Hub, and that's his specialty, brick and mortar to online and building that up.
Yes.
So for you,
we're very excited about it.
good deal. All right. Well, so thankful. Thank you all for sharing your takeaways, and continue to drop those in the chat. We'd love to know what's most helpful for you. That helps us and just even our delivery and planning for all of these sessions. And today we hope is no different. We hope you're loaded with takeaways and ideas today. I know Sarah's got all kinds of things planned for you. So Sarah, if you want to go ahead and share your screen and get started. While Sarah's doing that, again, if you weren't here yesterday and we haven't met yet, my name's Ashley Alderson. I'm the founder here at the Boutique Hub. This is our 11th year serving retailers around the world. We serve about 70,000 stores around the world in one capacity or another. So we're so blessed to be able to do this. And our main goal is just, how do we make your life easier? How do we make your life more profitable? How do we give you some time back to really build the business that I know you all set out to create, and to help you every step along the way? So Sarah, how about you? Want to do a little introduction?
All right, did I share my screen and it go away?
Yep, it just went away.
Okay, all right, sorry about that. Let's see. Hold up 1 second, guys. Technical difficulties here. What is happening? Ah, there we go. Okay, all right, so I'm Sara Burks, not tech savvy by any means. I will raise my hand and tell you guys all that. That's where my normal difficulties come from. But I love inventory management. I love sales strategy. I love team management. And I really, to say I geek out about that, I don't feel like that's an insult by any means. I love getting into the nitty gritty of your numbers. I told you guys yesterday, I had a store for many years. I started in retail way back in the 90s. And I worked there in high school as a co-op student. I would leave high school early and go work during the day. And I learned so much about women and serving and just all the customer service, the numbers, and like looking at a rounder rack and judging how much inventory is on there and what's my return on investment on that rounder rack versus a long bar versus a waterfall, all the things. And eventually came back and after going to school and getting my MBA and all sorts of things, came back and bought that store and took it from what was considered a ladies apparel store in our community and gutted it, completely redid it right around 2008, 2009. Great time to do all that, and reopened it as a boutique and eventually expanded that into multiple locations and went online with it as well. Ashley was a customer of mine. Her husband is from our community. I knew her husband's family all very well growing up. And over a course of many years, Ashley and I would have a lot of great conversations. And the idea was for me to come over to the Boutique Hub and help build out the education side of things here at the Boutique Hub community. And that's what I did in 2017. I closed my store. That's a whole nother story. We could do a whole nother webinar about that. About the difference between liquidating a store and actually selling it to someone else. Anyway, came over 2017 and here I am. I've been at the Boutique Hub ever since. Prior to that, my store was a member of the Boutique Hub community. And so I've been on your guys' shoes. I've sat in your seat before. And I love talking about all the things that really made a difference in my business. Both good and bad, right? Mistakes I made, what I learned through that journey, and I'm happy to bring that all to the table to you guys. And so I teach summer school here with Ashley. I'm the Director of Education and Partnerships for the Boutique Hub, but I also, one of my big things that I'm super passionate about, twice a year, I teach retail boot camp with Ashley. So absolutely love giving back to the industry in this way. That's who I am. That's what I do. So who wants to learn about inventory today? I'm curious. I'm going to pull up the chat too, but I'm curious. Who struggles with inventory management and why? Why is inventory management such a thing? Like, right? Such a big struggle for so many people. Girl, I struggle. I've never known under or overbuying. I feel like it's a guessing game. I'm ready to learn. Me. Yes. Okay. We're going to jump right into it today because one of the biggest things is we all love the fun, fancy stuff. I know that. And we tend to really get in our own head about, customers aren't buying what we have. We better go out and buy more stuff. Or I just think it's so cute and I know somebody's going to like it. Or maybe it's, I just want to be the coolest cat in town and have the fun and pretty things so all my friends and family have a fun place to go shop. Whatever it might be, at the end of the day, we're not talking about going on a little haul to, your local store. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars. That's your money, your family's money, the bank's money, Chase, Capital One, whoever's money. But nonetheless, it comes back on you. So this is a serious conversation. I love inventory because it's a way for people to express themselves. Ultimately, you are the vehicle that you are providing to your customers to fulfill themselves, feel good about themselves, feel good about their home, feel good about whatever it is they're going through, right? As humans, especially women, we like to buy to make ourselves feel good. That's a thing. So it is a lot of pressure back on us as the business owner to have the right inventory for them, to stay engaged with them. But I want to I start here because I don't like to use the word buying. I don't really like to use the word buying. And all of you guys that have been in retail boot camp with me, you know that I like to say that you are the inventory investor. You're the inventory investor because all of you on screen here and attending today, you guys have the intent to go out and invest in inventory, to sell to a customer. They're the buyers. They're going to hold on to that inventory. You are just holding it for a bit, right? You're investing, you're buying low to sell high. So that's the mentality behind this whole talk today. So if we could just get our head in that space before we go on, I think that's really going to be helpful. So today I want to kind of talk through some retail math, not boring math, right? This is like eye-opening math. This is kind of some fun stuff. And then I want to give you some guides and some strategies on assortment planning and some markdown stuff. So that's kind of the plan today, to make sure you have the right inventory at the right quantity, right? Because every dollar counts. So just to start here, I want to ask yourself, you guys, I'd like you kind of just answer these questions. What do my customers need? What do my customers need? Research and development. That's the fun part of this. Y'all should be getting out of your stores, getting out of your spaces and getting onto the websites, going to other towns in your area. What's out there? What is your customer seeing? Research and development is a huge part of this. This is also why I love going to market. I love seeing what other vendors are showing, what other stores are investing in, all of those things. And what struggles do they have? We talked about that a little bit yesterday. So I would love to open that up. You guys go ahead and drop some things in the chat. Any of these questions. What are your customers needing? What's already out there? What are your customers struggling with? What are some of their issues? What are some of their concerns? What are some of their problems? No wrong answers here. Let's learn from each other. Let's get some things going. I struggle to find the pain points. Okay, my customers need quality clothing, but their problems are price, feeling frumpy and confused in fashion. Yes. Okay, price. The entire shirt, they need coverage. Yes. Hey, FYI, I just read an article the other day about crop tops. They're finally on their way out. So you're in luck. Let's see, how to style things. Yes. Okay. So here's the deal. I want to just say to all of you guys that say price is the deal breaker. I would ask you how you know that for sure. How do you know that price is the deal breaker? How do you know that they're not suffering a little PTSD from something that they purchased that just didn't have good quality behind it? How do you know that they're not willing to pay that extra dollar for a quality product that is going to have a lot of cost per wear or cost per use with it, right? That really lowers that initial investment for them. Be very certain of what those painful price points are. And it doesn't matter what it is. Traditionally, a person, as soon as they purchase something, is going to have a little buyer's remorse. We do it too. Sometimes, often we purchase something, whether it's a car or whether it's a new pair of shoes. And we have to have that confirmation right away that it's still a good investment after we've saw the money go out of our bank account, right? And if we have any sort of problems with it, any sort of problems with it, that reduces our confidence in that store right there. So confidence is a big measure of this price situation that I see a lot of people talk about. Okay, so let's jump into it. I appreciate you guys diving in with some of those concerns. So I wanted to, I didn't have this in here until yesterday after our talk. One of our big things we talked about yesterday was within marketing, right? So to tie what we talked about yesterday back over to this inventory strategy, because ultimately the end goal here is you are investing in inventory to have for a short period of time. You want to turn it back into cash very, very quickly. So getting your head wrapped around the idea of you're the investor, but also everything that you are investing in, you should be able to tell a story about. It should be serving that problem or speaking right to the pain point of your consumer, your customer, helping them live their better life, right? You are helping them have the best experience at the beach they possibly could have with those sandless beach towels. I talked a lot about this last year in a number of videos I did, but you guys have all seen those beach towels that shake the sand off? Is that a beach towel? It's not a beach towel to Sarah, who's taking kids to the beach. That is a freaking lifesaver. That beach towel right there is going to save me hours of vacuuming out my car. It's going to save me from cussing out my kids when they run over and jump and sand goes all over me. It's going to save me all sorts of headaches. And ultimately, when you peel this back, it's going to make a very enjoyable beach experience. Right? We're taking time off work. We're loading up the car. We're going to the beach. We're supposed to have a really fun time. But if we take towels that get wet and full of sand and are gross, it's really hard for us to stay super positive in that experience, right? So enter the sandless beach towel. If you're selling that in your store right now and it's in a basket and that's it, and the label on it that actually says it's sandless is turned around and nobody can see it, I swear those things are just going to sit there and age out and rot on your shelves. If you are telling the story about those beach towels as they're sandless and they are going to give you the very best beach experience you possibly could have, I bet you've reordered on those 15 times already. Total difference. The built-in bra example, I used that yesterday. I don't need to go over that again, but that's basically the idea that everybody's looking for that perfect tank top, right now, but reduce their confusion, reduce their frustration, invest in those tank tops that already have the built-in bra in them, right? Huge win, time saver, all the things. And plus I mentioned the back fat yesterday. That's a problem for your customers. So if this is a solution to that, they are more apt to open their wallets and pay for the product. Smell good, sunless tanner, right? If you have sunless tanner on your website or in your store, if it smells good and you're not telling the customer that it smells good, you're missing an opportunity. There's a story behind every product. There's a positive and a negative in purchasing. And we want to identify, if we're going to turn our inventory as fast as we possibly can, we just need to get inside the story behind the products. Now, this goes back to when you're standing at market or you're on Hubventory or you're at Dallas Market Center or whatever, and you look at something and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cute. Who cares? There's so many cute things out there, you guys. It's not 2006. It's not 2016. We're in 2024. Most everything's cute, right? To somebody. Most everything is, kind of fun. And there's no such thing as scarcity. Every swipe of your thumb on any social channel, you are being inundated with product. But guess what? The ones you stop the scroll for are the ones that speak to you in 3 seconds. So enter the sunless tanner. Everybody wants to be tan in the summer, but nobody wants to smell like some of those tanners smell. What's the first thing your customers ask you? How does it smell? Is it sticky? Will it come off of my clothing? Well, if that's what they're asking you, that's what your marketing needs to be answering for them right away. That's the pain point. You got to start your marketing with that positive for them. Biodegradable dinnerware. This goes back to the full thing of, you're going to host a picnic, you're going to do all these kind of things. You want to be the Pinterest mom of the year and throw the best party ever. But what Pinterest doesn't show you is the behind the scenes lady, who's washing those dishes? Who's doing all of those things, right? And then you have that remorse of like throwing the stuff in the trash is just going to sit in a landfill forever. Enter the biodegradable dinnerware. Solution, win, easy, good for the environment, man, dump it, whatever. It's a win all the way across the board. But that right there is a huge story. So I encourage you, I don't want to spend more time on it, but I did want to just kind of talk about that a little bit today, because your products are your biggest asset, right? The money that you're investing in this, you're spending tens of thousands of dollars into your inventory. It deserves your energy, it deserves your excitement, and it deserves a story. And if you as the owner of that inventory don't have that, your customers aren't going to get it. Your customers are bankers, teachers, stay-at-home moms, I don't know, whatever they are, they're not in this industry that you are. So the industry, the inventory that you're looking at, you see it from the big picture and you can see all the possibilities, but the customer can't. So that's where you come in. So today we're going to talk about some of the retail math to guide your decision. So these are the 4 things that we're going to go over. Okay. And yes, you guys, this is recorded. You guys can go back. So I appreciate you guys probably taking some notes, but I also encourage you guys to kind of listen through and watch through these examples. We can talk through some things at the end too. So let's talk about the sales data analysis. So this is really knowing how much of what product you are selling. So the idea is, I sold, $40,000 worth of products in a month. Sounds great, except for we want to know what we really sold. We really need to know, like, what is our demand looking like? What is our demand looking like? So here's this example of a clothing boutique, right? So over the last 8 weeks, past 8 weeks, this store is going to did sell 240 dresses, right? So we're looking at the past, and we're going to look at the past analysis, and we're going to be able to make some judgments for going into the future. Now, the thing here is knowing what your average sale per week is. So your total units sold divided by the number of weeks, that's 30 dresses a week. That's your weekly demand. So a lot of times I saw people say this in the chat, like they're winging it. They don't necessarily have a plan. Now, 240 dresses over 8 weeks, that sounds pretty good. We want to compare this. We want to be able to know, is this a high demand product for me? Is this seasonal? When am I selling the most dresses? When do I need to have these things readily available, right? But at the same time, it doesn't do me any good to just go to market and say, I sell a lot of dresses. Nope. I on average sell 30 dresses a week. I sell 30 dresses a week. Therefore, that is going to guide my decision. And a lot of times what we do is we'll go in and we'll just say, I sold $20,000 worth of dresses. How long did it take you to sell them? How often did you sell them? How many were you selling per week? Because $20,000 worth of dresses, when you pay for those things, if you're paying for them in April, but you don't actually sell them until August or September, that's a really big difference when it comes to your cash flow. So I really encourage you guys, run these numbers, look at some of your key categories and look and think, what am I selling each week? What do I have on hand? What am I selling each week? And this is going to help guide you for this replenishment plan. So that's the first thing. The next thing is this inventory turnover rate. And this is a really big one, because the whole idea here is going back to what I talked about at the beginning, is you are an investor. You want to invest in inventory and turn it over as fast as you possibly can. You want to turn it over as fast as you possibly can. Turn it back into cash so you can go back and replenish. So when you're selling those 30 dresses a week, you have cash on hand and you have an idea of what you can go back and replenish in, right? So it's really important for us to understand what moves fast and what's moving slow. I see Meredith in chat, turnover is my favorite metric. It really is, because it's almost, we can it's a challenge, right, Meredith? And we're going to talk through that just in the next slide. So it's a challenge. How fast can I turn my inventory over? What classes of inventory do really work for me, and what is a little harder for me to sell in my store? So let's look at this. So measures how quickly inventory is sold and replaced over a period of time. So this is a gift shop example. So first we need to know the cost of goods for the year is $50,000 and the average inventory during this year is $10,000. So with that, your cost of goods divided by your average inventory gives you that inventory turn rate. So in this store, their inventory turn rate is 5. This means the inventory was sold and replaced 5 times during the year. So that's awesome. This is actually the best goal. 5 is a great goal for inventory turn rate. A higher turn rate means good demand, positive cash flow. You have freshness coming in and out of your store, and a lot of returning customers, right? We've all been to the store, onto the website, that you jumped onto the website today and you realized they are still showing the same stuff they had on the website in March. How many pages are you going to go through? Or when you jump onto a website and the hero image, the very first thing you see has Easter dresses, or even worse, has, I don't know, maybe it's even Valentine's Day. I just saw one the other day that was like this, because as Ashley and I like to say, a lot of times as business owners, we're not coming through the front door of our business. We're not seeing the very first thing a customer sees. But for all you brick and mortar girls, can you imagine still having Easter themed items in your store window right now? No, maybe you have dresses in there, but it's for a different occasion. Maybe now it's the 4th of July stuff. You've turned that, maybe you were able to turn that Easter kind of thing into more of a summer vacation kind of vibe, but you would certainly not have Easter eggs in there. So that higher turnover is going to get your customers coming back through the door faster. That's the fear of missing out, right? That's a beautiful thing. Lower turning inventory, obviously, is the opposite. Slower moving products. Your cash flow is very tight. Stale product assortment. Yeah, stale. It looks old. It is old. Ultimately, the end result here is very bored customers. Very, very bored customers. They start shopping someplace else. So looking at this, 90% of what is sold happens in the first 10 weeks. Now, this is just average women's apparel stores, right? It's a little bit more in home and gift stores, but just knowing that 90% of what is sold happens in the first 10 weeks. So is anybody guilty of letting their inventory have birthdays? Does your inventory ever have a birthday, half birthday? No inventory should ever have a half birthday, let alone a full 1-year birthday in your store. It should not ever happen. When was the last time? Oh no, Liliana, I see you say, eek, they are in storage. Girl, we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so here's the thing. I personally have never walked into a store and said, could you show me what you got last year? Could you show me what came in the summer of 2023? I would love to see it. Nobody ever asked for that. Nobody ever has collections on their website. Was new in 2023. It does not happen, right? So therefore, we need to be aggressive. We're going to talk a whole bunch about markdowns here a little bit, but that keeping that in mind, keep that in mind, and keep that backstock my inventory conversation in mind. We're going to come back, I promise. But the average turn rate in the US is 4. 4 is not bad. 4 is not bad. 4 is pretty healthy. It means that is every 13 weeks, right? So this is basically what you use the turn rate for. So two turns, take 52 weeks divided by 2. That means you're replenishing your products 26 weeks. In 26 weeks, you've replenished your products. You can see the math right here in front of you, but here's my question to you, that I think this is what it was really eye-opening. When did you pay the bill? When did Chase want the money? When did the bank require your payment on your line of credit? Typically, you guys, that's 30 days. That's 30 days. So if you have a 2-time turn, that's 26 weeks, not 26 days that it takes you to replenish that product to get the cash back out of it. So that's why this turn rate is a really, really important metric. And it is really, once you get the handle of it, you realize that I'm not going to fall in love with those products. I am not going to be emotionally attached to those jeans, those shoes, those candles, whatever it is. You're going to look at that stuff and you're going to realize that is my money. That is my cash money hanging on hangers right there, sitting on shelves. I'm not going to walk by that and look at that as a whole rack of denim. I'm looking back at that and I'm looking at that and thinking, it's my house payment. That's my kid's trip to Disney. That's me taking a vacation. Or better yet, that's me taking a paycheck. I can't help my husband or my family pay my bills right now because I have too much inventory tied up in slow turning, or too much dollars tied up in slow turning inventory. That is where, when I made the big switch in my business and started looking at my inventory as my dollars, instead of looking at my inventory as the cute thing my friend or my whatever family or whoever down the street might want, I realized my loyalty was not to them. I needed to run a business, not a hobby. And I needed to turn my inventory back over faster and invest in things that were going to solve problems for people and people were going to pay money for quickly. And at best, they were going to pay it at full price. They were not going to wait for sales. So that's this slide. I encourage you guys to kind of spend some time on the turn rate. We go into this so deep in Retail Bootcamp, and I do a lot of one-on-ones with people as well. So I just bring this up to you guys in summer school, not to make a whole session on it. We could make 2 full weeks of education on turn rate, but let's roll past this now and move on to the when to reorder. Okay, so this is a big one. So this is determine the stock level at which new orders should be placed to avoid missed sales. So we talked about this a bit yesterday, right? Jeff and Ashley were talking all about running ads and marketing. And I raised my hand and said, my biggest pain point as a customer is when I get served an ad and I'm sitting there finally relaxing for the day. And I'm like, 4th of July is coming up. I'm going to the lake with my family. I don't own anything with an American flag on it. I would love to have a sweater for the evenings, right? Perfect. This sweater looks awesome. Click on it. Jump over. Well, that's weird. I don't actually see this on their site. Surely I must be missing it. Spend a couple times, swipes my thumb, still can't find the sweater. Next thing you know, I finally find it and it's completely sold out. I'm mad, right? I'm upset. It's very, very frustrating. So what happens is a lot of times as the investor in the products, we don't replenish our products enough, or we're spending marketing dollars pushing people to products that we don't have a replenishment plan for. So in this example, home decor store, the average lead time to restock candles is 2 weeks. So this is a metric that a lot of times as business owners, we don't acknowledge, right? We don't acknowledge. A lot of times we think, oh, if I run out of it, I'll just get new. Well, guys, what's the lead time? How long does it take me to get it, right? What does that average look like? This is a really good question to ask your vendors, right? So in this particular product, candles takes 2 weeks. Takes 2 weeks to get these. So, and the store sells 20 candles per week. So there's a safety stock unit. And this is something I've started to talk to a lot of people about, just because when we're buying deeper, a lot of times when we're buying deeper on products, these are bread and butter. I'm going to talk about assortment planning here in a little bit, but you notice I put up their bread and butter or demand items. These are things that we are going to be making some cash on, right? This is gas for gas stations, right? This is gas for gas stations. This is shoes at Zappos, right? More specifically, they'd have specific types, but people come into your store to buy all sorts of things, but you have your bread and butter items that pay the bills. So for me, it was Liverpool jeans, and Barefoot Dreams blankets. Those were a couple of my bread and butter items. So I had to know what my safety stock unit number was. Like if I drop below something, it might take me too long to get it back in and I'm going to miss some sales. So this is the reorder part or reorder point. So the equation here is your average weekly sales times your lead time plus the safety stock. So when you do that math here for this particular candles, home decor and gift store, they don't want to drop below 50 units. If they drop below 50 units and they're selling 20 candles a week, their inventory is going to get so low, they may not run out of it, you guys, but to the consumer, they may not have the options. It may look like, has anybody ever been to the bread aisle when they have like 3 loaves of bread left in the bread aisle? And you're thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with those 3 loaves of bread? This particular candle store would get down to less than 10 candles on the shelf. And that is a danger zone for this particular store. Every store has different situations, right? But if you are looking at, if somebody comes in and says, I'm looking for a sundress to wear to a 4th of July picnic or parade, and you say, yeah, let's go back to the dresses. and there's 2 dresses, literally 2 dresses, is that enough sorry about the balloons. Is that enough options for the consumer to make a healthy decision? Or do they feel like, what's wrong with those dresses? And then I mean, a candle's a candle, one size all, right? I mean, the smells are different, but when you start thinking about this, when dresses, that's the Facebook ad that I was served, that they didn't have my size, or maybe even worse yet, they didn't have any of them. So this is just really, really important to understand what is your safety zone on your bread and butter items. Now, we're going to talk a bit more about assortment planning here in a minute, but this is really important when you guys think. I'm curious for you guys, what are some of your bread and butter items? Drop them in the chat. I mentioned mine were Liverpool jeans and also Barefoot Dreams blankets. Barefoot Dreams blankets and robes. Curious, let's see. DIY lash extension, graphic tees. Buddha bangles. Yes, Liverpool jackets, all the things. Boots. Yes. Okay. So these are the things that people are coming into your store. They know, like, and trust you because they believe you're going to have the products in these categories. Too new to know. Okay, Dawn, this is great. Awesome. You're going to really start testing the waters on these things. Yeah, awesome. I love you guys have some of these things really narrowed down. So imagine if you stopped or you ran out of these products. If you ran out of these products, that's really tough because if customers like, know, and trust you here, and they're coming in to invest in product or buy products from you here, but all of a sudden you're sold out on a website, it's super dangerous. On a website, it's super dangerous because they came for a purpose, and now it's up to you to really capture them within that 3 seconds to get them to look for something else. Or do they have another person, another store that they also know has this, that they're going to immediately jump over to? Because depending on your shipping, depending on all of those things on your site, if they're maybe aren't willing to take the risk to have to pay 2 different shippings, all of the things. So when to reorder that replenishment part, that I think this is, I personally really think this is a fun metric to know in your business because it really helps guide your decisions. And the last one here today, and like I said, we go into retail math a lot deeper in Retail Bootcamp. We only have an hour and a half today, so I only picked these few metrics, but I think this is really important to know. So this is your GM ROI. So your gross margin return on investment. So here, what we're looking for is when I invest $1 into something, what am I getting back? What am I getting back? And just as a reminder, I know there's a lot of new people out here. So when I use terms like gross and net, an easy way that I help people remember this is gross. Gross is the whole big picture, all the money you brought in, right? It includes everything. It includes absolutely everything. So it includes the taxes, the discount, or it includes all the stuff, all the like the sale items and all your items, everything put together, right? Now, when you have that money for like a split second, then you got to pay back the IRS, you got to pay Sezzle, you got to pay Shopify, you got to pay all your fees, all of the things out of it. So I like to look at it like the visual is I take a fishing net and my fishing net goes down into the water and I'm scooping up the big fish, all the water, all the stuff, all the seaweed, all the stuff that's in there. That's my gross. And if you're not a fisher person, that is kind of gross. But when I lift it up out of the water, right, all that other stuff comes out of there. And all I should be left with, really all I'm left with is that fish. That's my net. That's what's in the net. That's what I get to take home. That's what I get to take home. So when you think about gross, means it's not all yours. There's still more things that have to come out of it. Net, that's me. That's what's the net revenue, the net sales, all of those things. So hopefully that's helpful. Okay, so take a look at this example. This is a clothing boutique. Their gross margin, their sales revenue minus cost of goods is $30,000 and their average inventory is $10,000. So this means their GM ROI is 3. So basically when you guys figure this out, and I'm going to give you some tips on how to do this here in just a second, but because pencil and paper math is exhausting. I totally get that. So if you have a quality point of sale system or the right apps, there it is going to do this for you. But this is a key metric for you guys to be looking at. So 3 means that for every dollar invested in inventory, the boutique earns $3 in gross margin. So higher GM ROI indicates better inventory profitability. This goes back to that conversation I had yesterday about how some store owners are like, I want to be the most affordable place in town. I want to offer the most affordable, cheap products to my customers because that's going to get them coming back, and they don't like higher price point items. They don't want to spend a lot of money, or the whole they can't afford it thing, right? They can't afford it thing is they're rolling around in some fancy boots and, $150 sneakers and all the things, right? That you're making a judgment call. I don't believe everybody has all the background information when we say those kind of things, but this GM ROI is really important. This helps us understand, is my time, energy, and effort I'm putting into these products that I'm investing in worth it? Anybody that listens to anybody talk about trading, right? Stocks and things, they're all about this ROI. They're all about, what do I get back out of it, right? And is my effort I'm putting into something worth it? This is a great place to start. This really helps us in here in a minute when I start talking about your assortment planning, understanding how much do I want to invest in each type of category. So a really low GM ROI, I hope if you're running these numbers and your GM ROI is very low, I'm hoping you're going to say, man, that's the category that I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to let somebody else serve that and offer that to my customers. So that's some retail math. That's some retail math. Now, I want to jump into, I'm just kind of looking to see about some questions, but I want to jump into this seasonal transition and markdown strategy. So a couple of things to ask yourself right now, when you are switching gears, right? We've come off spring and summer and we're going to be moving. I mean, we're not off summer, but you all know that fall is on the horizon. People are starting to already talk back to school. Vendors are already probably calling you, wanting you to ship some fall, right? So you're at this point with, all right, cash flow. When do I bring it in? How much of it do I bring in? The first thing I want you to identify in your inventory is what you have on hand that can be transition pieces. What do you have on hand that has been able to survive and be on demand and work for your customers in the spring and now into the fall? So I look at this picture right here. That little cardi, that's a great transition piece. We all know you're going to come in and out of places with air conditioning, right? You're going to come in and out of place with air conditioning. This is a great thing to have in the car. It's a great thing to have at the office, but it's also a perfect fall transition piece. If you have these these lightweight cardigans on hand or coming in right now, please know these also work over sundresses, these white basic tank tops. It works over all sorts of different things, but you in your head as an inventory investor have got to look at this piece and see transition. Don't look at this piece, even though it might come off of a fall invoice, it's not fall. Right now, if you tell your customers it's fall, they're going to feel like they have to wait to wear it to fall, or they have to wait to buy it to fall, right? These are transition pieces that you can be selling all year round. So when you're looking at that, your invested inventory, you're thinking, those again are my dollars. How can I make the absolute most out of them for my customers? How can I encourage my customers to buy them replenishment more often, right? It all comes back to the story that we're telling. And then in this assortment planning, when you're running those metrics that we just talked about, there's 4 different types of inventory that all stores have. And when I say all stores, I mean everything from your grocery stores to your Walmarts, to your gas stations, to your boutique. In retail, you're going to have trending things. You're going to have bread and butter categories. You're going to have margin builders, and you're going to have impulse buys. I'm curious if you guys can drop in the chat. Let's pick one of these. Let's pick impulse buys real quick. What are some impulse buys? Or both questions. What are some impulse buys? And where do you put your impulse buys? Bitch sticks, okay? Rings at register. Permanent jewelry at checkout, handbags and earrings. Yes. Yes. Awesome. Absolutely. Yes, somebody did it. They wrote it. They dropped it in here. These are your upsells. Ding, ding. Excellent answer. I love it. These are your upsells and your add-ons, right? Stickers for sure. Ashley was talking about your average order value yesterday. And if your average order value, you're really struggling to get it to the next level, look at your impulse buy opportunities for your customers. These are the things that as we go through sales strategy and sales training with our staff or you personally, it has got to just roll off your tongue, roll off your marketing, your copy as an opportunity for the customer to add something to their sale.
Sarah, can I jump in?
Yeah.
I just want to make sure too, it solves problems. So like if it's end of school, these are little teacher gifts. If it's Christmas, it's gifts for your best friend. It's a stocking stuffer. Like it's an impulse buy. Many of the things you guys mentioned are impulse buys 24/7, but remember you can also make them very seasonal and they can be a quick gift or an add-on or an upsell or a bundle at checkout as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then let's talk about like right now, let's talk about trend. What are some things that are trend in the summer of 2024? What are you guys seeing as far as certain trends that customers are looking for? Outfit sets, bows, sun protection gear. Okay. I saw somebody say, yeah, sweater, knit tanks, vest. Yes. Yeah. Tanner for sure. So these are things that, yeah, you're not necessarily going to source these all year round, but right now they're hot. They're in demand. Your customers are coming in for them, right? I saw somebody say sunglasses, and I just want to tell you interesting fact. In my store in Wisconsin, I sold more sunglasses in the winter than I ever did in the summer. Snow is a big deal with sun. So if you are in a winters, if you have snow, don't underestimate the power of sunglasses in the winter. And typically because people would always forget them and wouldn't have them and would need them. So I always thought that was really kind of interesting. But so as you guys can kind of just think about this, and we won't spend a lot of time on it, but I would encourage you guys as you're going through the next couple days after summer school here and you're working through your store and looking over what you learned today. I think that these 4 categories, you should be able to break your store up and understand what is falling in trend, right? What are some of my, my tried and true on bread and butter items in my store? What are some of my margin builders? What am I going to market and able to look and find and source very low and sell high? Another session I do, and we talk a lot about this when we do our retail bootcamp big trip to LA, this is a great opportunity for margin builders, right? I love margin builders. They are often for me in my store, they were the make or break on me making payroll or not on some slow months. And then the 4th here, we talked about impulse buys. So think about it. And from your store, what are some opportunities in your current inventory planning? If you have 100% trend, or let's even just say 80% trend in your store, and all your dollars are tied up in trend, you're missing out on sales from some of these other categories that you need to be filling, right? If you went to market and you decided that you were just doubling down on all your bread and butter items, maybe your customers are coming in and they're not seeing that upsell opportunity. They're not seeing that discovery, that newness, right? They're seeing it and feeling like it's a little stale. Yes, they like and trust you for this, but they also are looking for a little bit more excitement. And that's to get back, we could have a whole nother discussion about what the word boutique business really is, right? But this I think is really important. And I'll just go ahead and drop this example for you guys. You guys have all been consumers. You've been shoppers for your entire life. You guys have watched other people shop, whether it was with your parents or then when you became shoppers your own, right? Grocery shopping is a perfect example. You guys have been inventory managing without even knowing it ever since you started buying groceries. Nobody goes to the grocery store and says they don't know really what they're there for, right? I don't know anybody that goes there for fun. They're going there for a purpose. They might go there to restock bread, butter, milk, eggs, right? but then they're finding a few other things that they needed, or they thought they needed, or they wanted while they were there. So if those grocery stores run out of those key bread and butter items, do you think they're going to sell much of the other stuff? Those add-on things, those impulse buys? No, they're not. That's why it is so important that the first dollar they spend every week is on their replenishment of those bread and butter items. Always come home with way more than I need at the grocery store. Absolutely. And that could be a Target or a Walmart conversation as well. But we hope that people say the same thing about you. That is your hope, because that is you doing a good job marketing and merchandising products when they're there and giving them that fear of missing out and that discovery opportunity. And this happens for your brick and mortar stores, but it also happens for your e-commerce stores. How many times have you guys went on a killer website? You got there, you've went and found the one thing you wanted, and next thing you know, you're checking out with 5 or 6 things. Because they say similar, other customers also bought this, pairs well with that. Those pants that you bought, all of a sudden it shows it on the full outfit. Next thing you know, it's just like shopping a mannequin in a store. You've got the bag, the tee, the cardi, the hat, the necklace, the watch, the bracelet, all the things. Yeah, I see you guys in the comments. It's a real thing. Yep, just like the end caps at the big box stores. I had no idea I wanted that teeth whitener until I walked by and the lady sitting there smiling at me was like, had the brightest, whitest teeth in the world. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Oh, it only takes 7 minutes. I can totally do that. That fits in my budget. Let me grab that right now. Had no idea. Didn't even know it was a thing. But their merchandising, their marketing got me. You guys can be the exact same way. All right, so let's talk, when we talk about the markdowns, because markdowns happens. When it comes to inventory management, I'd be amiss if I did not say you are going to have to mark down some of your products. You're going to have mistakes. Life is going to happen, whatever it is, right? But you should have a 6-week plan. I love working with stores that say a 6-week plan. I mentioned earlier that no inventory should ever have a birthday, not even a half birthday in your store, not even a half birthday in your store. But so have a 6-week plan with your inventory. If you do not know how to age your inventory, look for an aged inventory report in your point of sale system, or else be marking, creating a tag on your products that starts with the week of the year that you receive the inventory. We go into this deeper and do all sorts of examples of this in Retail Bootcamp, but you have got to know when you got your products in, when they went live on your sales floor or on your website, right? So little tip here, learn from all your mistakes. If things have to go on sale, if you put them on sale, you want to know why. Why did we put them on sale? Was it the wrong fit, the wrong feel, the wrong function? Was the fabric wrong? Was the style or the cut wrong, right? The color was just not popular for your customers. It was something they didn't like. The sizes, maybe you ordered in the wrong sizes. Maybe the sizes when they came in, their size small was going to literally fit a toddler, right? Or it's going to fit an 8th grade girl. It wasn't actually going to fit a woman. Or maybe the, if you're home decor and gift, maybe the packs that it came in was just, you got too many of one style or too little of one style. Who knows what it might have been. Maybe the prices were wrong, right? But a markdown, you've got to have a successful markdown strategy. I added that in there. And the delivery times really count. The delivery times really count. Let's talk swimsuits right now. Not an ideal time to bring in new swimsuits right now. If you're running a really short sales window, yes, you might sell some. Now, if you're replenishing and you're in a resort town and you have people constantly coming in all the time, you bet. But for the most part, follow the big box stores. They're Targets and all the big stores that have sold swim, they've been selling it for months, right? And now they're moving out. They're moving out of things. So yes, you could capitalize on a little bit of that market of, I can't find it at the Targets and those easier to buy places, but your marketing has got to be spot on and you got to let people know. For the most part, people's minds have already shifted away from swimwear. I've already shifted away from the shorts. I know it's June, but summer, that's a big month already into our summer vacations. So really be thinking about that. And so these delivery times, too early, maybe you're going to be sitting on the inventory and it's going to take a while to sell through it. Too late, you've really shortened that window up. So be aggressive when you're looking at this strategy. Be aggressive in your markdowns, right? We always like to say, your first cut is the deepest, right? Don't just murder the price tag with 10% off, 12% off, 15% off, all the things. Amy and Allegra, I see you guys. Suits sell all year round for you. We just put out new swimsuits. That's awesome, but I love that. Make sure you are being very vocal and loud about that to your customers that maybe didn't already source their swimsuits, right? That are looking for that opportunity. If that is a bread and butter item for you, that's awesome. You probably have a customer base that likes, know, and trusts you for that year-round availability of suits. So just know when I give that example earlier, that's kind of more for the masses than specific type of stores that cater to swimsuits. So I hope that was clear. Sorry about that. Going back to the strategy though. So from 6 to 8 weeks, if it has not sold through in 6 to 8 weeks, we really need to be making that markdown plan with it. Now I made a little note here, unless not selling at all, right here, you guys, if you get inventory in and in that first week, none of it has sold, the red lights should be flashing. We need to do something. We need to do something. We need to address, was it the wrong fit, the wrong feel, the wrong function? Did I not merchandise it right? Did I not take the pictures right? What did I not do? There's a problem. If you are excited about it, you need to be excited about selling it. So if none of them have moved in the first week, we have a serious issue. Price it to move. There's a few exceptions here in the 6 to 8 weeks. I like to look at jeans and jewelry a little bit different. They tend to, sometimes the higher end jewelry and sometimes your jeans, they can take a little bit longer to sell through, right? But I encourage you guys replenish certain sizes in jeans. That's a really big one. Just because you look at a rack and you see a lot of jeans there, know who your key customers are, what those key sizes are, and see if you can replenish on those. That's really important. Late arrivals, I mentioned that already, and too early in before the season. So if you do, for some of you guys that said you launched swimsuits in March, but your prime swim season isn't until June or July, I'm not telling you have to do a severe discount on those at 6 weeks. You have a little bit longer window there, right? And then I think it's really important to discuss seasonal items fast. I see a lot of people inside the Boutique Hub, they don't like to discount their seasonal items until after the season. The example I'm going to use right now is 4th of July. If you have 4th of July tees or sweaters or something, they need to be in your front window. They need to be on the front table display. They need to be on your front cover of your website. They need to be front and center. And next week, they need to be on sale. I would even say the end of this week, I would go ahead and start putting them on sale. Make them move. The idea is, especially with the 4th of July falling in the later part of that first week of July, lots of people are going to be making their plans. That is for Thursday to be a 4th of July holiday in the middle of the week like that. People are going to shop that Saturday and Sunday before. Some of them are even going to be shopping that Friday, Saturday before, right? So therefore, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and if you're online, you got to account for time to be delivered. So those should be going on sale now. Not July 6th, not the Saturday after the 4th. Take the cash you can out of those products right now. Cash is better than margin in a situation like that with seasonal goods. So some of you guys dropped this, so thank you. I saw some conversations in the chat. If you're looking for ways to run these reports and ways to get this the stats here, these are some apps with inside Shopify that I highly encourage you guys to look into. Better Reports, Stocky, Delirious Profit. Highly encourage you guys to be looking at those. Inside your point of sale system, most point of sale systems, if you're like a Heartland or Lightspeed or Clover or even Square or QuickBooks, have these built in. So a few different reports when you are running these reports with your point of sale system. I love looking at your sales report, sales by class, sales by vendor. And I added on here sales by employee. This is really important to know who is selling what. What employee is, I always like to say, like I give a lot of basketball analogies inside Retail Bootcamp, but If there's a tech file and I get to pick somebody that gets on the line to shoot that tech file for me, I want to know who is the best free throw shooter. So sales by employees, if it's coming into the, we're at the, whatever, what are we, the middle, towards the end of June right now. And I'm looking at my sales for June and I'm thinking, man, I'm not sure we're going to make payroll. And I look at who's on staff all the last week of June, and I see my C-level employees are the ones that their average order value is $25. And my average order value employees at $120, they're off next week, or I just didn't schedule them. I might be making a phone call and saying, hey, you guys, is there any way you'd like to pick up some extra hours? I need you on the floor, or I need you in the warehouse, or I need you wherever, I need you writing copy. I need you sending out my emails, whatever that might be. So sales by employees, that's a whole nother conversation, but often, sometimes we overlook that right there. And the sales by vendor, we don't typically say you invest in inventory specifically by vendor, because vendors sometimes have good seasons and bad seasons and things like that, but there is a lot of loyalty to brand. There still is a lot of loyalty to brand. So that is really important. And plus, you know, what brands like to work with you and what brands don't. So running those reports and knowing that dollar that you invested is well spent or a risk. All right, let's see. Then when we move into the inventory reports, these are some other inventory reports. Like I said, in Retail Bootcamp, we go into these so much deeper and can really acknowledge this, but I thought it was worthy to put these up here for you guys in summer school, just so you guys are aware of some of the key metrics that you should be analyzing when you're looking at your inventory. So what do I have on hand? Always need to know what I have on hand. You cannot sell what you cannot find. You cannot sell what you don't have, right? So how much inventory do I have on hand? How much inventory have I ordered? How much inventory have I already committed to that my dollars are tied up in? What is my sell-through? That GMROI we talked about. How old is my inventory? And the last one right here, this I also think is really interesting. What inventory has been being returned? What inventory went out the door, was sold, but has a high return rate? That is really important too. That is really important too. And a lot of times we can, when we peel that onion back, we can be like, all right, that kept getting returned. Why? Was it the wrong fit, the wrong field, the wrong function? What happened to it? How many times have you guys got something home, it looked awesome in a picture, and you put it on, you're like, oh my gosh, I do not like the way this feels. Or you got it in and you put it on your mantle or whatever it is, you're like, that is way smaller than what I thought it was going to be, right? It doesn't look the same. So that returning report is really, really important as well. Ashley, I want to pull up my, I want to pull up Hubintory real quick and kind of show this, open to buy the budgets plans and kind of just show that ROI calculator, just as an example of when you are investing, is a few different tools that can really help make this easier for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So while I do that, is there any questions we want to kind of jump into?
Yeah, let me go through here. If you guys have questions, let me scroll up. This was a good question, and I think Nicole answered this good in the chat. Ella asked this question, Ella Grace. Instead of markdowns, when do you know how to use the inventory exchange Facebook group for members of the hub compared to markdowns? Which would you prefer? And I know that's already been answered a little bit, but really you do the markdown first, right? If you can take your first cut and say 30% off and give that to your customers, or you run a deal or no deal, or you've got your hot single and available rack, or you've got a 5, a 10, a 20, a $30 thread in your Facebook group. Those are all good ways to just like get the cash out. I would say save the inventory exchange for after you have tried the markdown process. And then the other thing just to think about in that process as well is, did I reshoot it? Did I restyle it? Did I repost it? So often if you look back at all the products on your website, right, or in store, and you're like, why didn't this sell? I would go and ask myself, okay, when did I last post this product on social media? Has it been posted anywhere? Did I do a fit video with it? Did I do a demonstration video with it? Did I use any content with it? Or did I just put it out and I hope somebody saw it? Or I posted it once and it was some random Tuesday morning and everybody missed it. So how can I repurpose, you know, the merchandising and the photo of whatever that item is and then repost it? Scroll down. All right. I get gun shy buying new inventory when I have had some real losers and then I don't know what to buy. Oh my gosh, Sarah, isn't that the story of retail? Like, you're gonna have some dogs.
Yep.
You gotta fail fast with those dogs.
Yes. Yeah, and that is definitely gonna happen. It is definitely gonna happen, and we're gonna learn from those things. And the other thing, you're gonna go to market and you're going to talk to a vendor that's gonna tell you that you've got to invest in this. This is the best selling thing. Everybody's buying it, da 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 da. But if you know in your heart that you're like, I cannot think of 3 of my customers that would buy this, that's a risk. If you can't think of people or a type of person that you will definitely market that to, then you're not prepared to sell it. So go ahead and pass on it, because this world is a full of all sorts of wholesale opportunities. And I see Abigail, what markdown percent do you recommend as the first cut? And then what should you follow up with? So I honestly, 40%. If you've had it for 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and it hasn't moved, go ahead and 40% off. Yep.
Yeah.
And I also like to price it at what the price is going to be. Sometimes math for customers, that's just not kind of their gig.
Yeah, don't give them the percentage, give them the dollar amount.
Yeah. Okay, so you guys, I'm on the Hubintory platform right now. So this is a wholesale marketplace, the Boutique Hub's wholesale marketplace. We have built in a number of different tools into this wholesale buying platform for you. And as inventory investing, I want to show you one of the things that I think is super cool and really helps you with your dollars. So if you are going to come in here and look at this dress, right? You're going to come down here and you're going to go here to this show return on investment calculator. So one of the first things I like to do is select my markup. So if I'm going to slide this little slider over here to a 3-time markup, and I'm going to assume that out of those pieces, 33% of that is going to be, oh shoot, I didn't add anything to my cart. My bad. Got to add that to the cart. Let me go ahead and add some of this first. All right, I'm more large and medium heavy, so I'm adding that to the cart. And then I'm going to come down here and I'm going to say, okay, my customers are willing to pay this 3-time markup on it. So then what happens if something weird happens and I have to mark down these 20 to 50% off? So I've got my markups set at 3 here. I'm going to sell 33% of those products at full price, right? 33% of those products at full price. Then what if I have to, say some VIP buyers come in or whatever it might be. Maybe family friend and discount. Some of those people are going to buy the dress and that's at 20% off. Okay. And then what if I have some stragglers? Those ones that have been sitting there, leftovers, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they did not sell. And I have to mark them at 50% off. When I can slide these sliders around right there, and my return on this investment is $273. So that's awesome. Now, what if I go back up here and I look at this dress and I look and think, okay, so I know I'm very confident in who's going to buy this dress. I know who I'm marketing it to, all of the things. And I come back down here and I'm like, I'm not selling any of those at 50% off. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm selling 70% of them at full price and 30% of them, maybe 30% of those, that investment is going to go at 20% off. My ROI has just went up to $389. This is where markdowns really matter. So when you're playing around with this and you think, oh, shoot, those didn't sell this week, not a big deal. I'm sure they're going to sell next week. When you start to say, I'm sure they're going to sell next week, I'm sure they're going to sell the next week, the risk here gets higher. The risk of those aging out and sitting on your floor longer gets higher, right? So I'm going to pull this back down and all of a sudden, oops, sorry, I'm at 50% off. All of a sudden, I got lazy in my marketing. I got lazy in my merchandising. And now I've got an inventory problem, a cash flow problem. And I didn't do any marketing of that to sell it at full price. And so next thing you know, Look at my return on investment here. What if I slide this back down here and just say like 10% of my people bought it at 20% off, and all of a sudden I got really lazy and 90% of those products went to the 50% off rack. So then when you're looking at how much did you invest in the product and what did you get back, that's where you start to think, man, is this investment worth it or not? Now let's see this markdown or this markup slider right here. For those, to go back to those stores that want to be the most affordable place in town. If you keystone mark that and say that dress was $26 and you double the price on that, just do a 210 markup on that, I made $12 on that investment. Worth my time or not? Not. That's why all of these things really, really matter. These decisions that go behind your pricing for profit, these decisions that go behind your markdown strategy, these decisions that go along with your merchandising and your photography, they really, really matter. Again, this is your money. This is your dollar bills tied up in inventory. This is your dollar bills that otherwise would be paying for bills, pay your payroll, family vacation, rent, car payments, whatever it is. Right here. So if you go up and you invest in all these products. Let's just jump back in here. So all of a sudden you've bought these 9 dresses and you're investing $240. You're investing $240. And now all of a sudden that's just one dress, and you're going to buy 30 of these dresses, of different types of dresses. That's a lot of your personal money. Are you willing to take that risk and pricing it low and being lazy in your marketing strategy, which Jeff and Ashley talked a lot about yesterday, and not addressing your merchandising or paying your number or paying attention to your numbers? And at the end of the day, there's no cash there. And when you go back and look at this, you're like, well, holy crap, I made $12 on that whole bundle of dresses I bought. I didn't realize. I forgot. I decided to staff my C team all week, or I took a vacation and just said whoever can work, or I forgot to look at my website and didn't realize I still had Easter dresses there, or whatever it might be. And next thing you know, your inventory has aged so much, it's just not in demand anymore. And the only thing you can do is market it 60% off. So that's where the big issue is. And that's why this ROI calculator inside inventory is so important. And that's why I absolutely love it. We could talk even more. There's also an area in here you can come create budgets. So if, say, my budget for dresses was $10,000, I could come in here and create that budget. And then every dress that I sourced here, and when I fulfilled that, it would come off that budget. And so it would alert me and say, these are your bumpers, Sarah, stay within this. This is your threshold, because you still need money, not just for your bread and butter dresses, but you're still going to need money in your budget for trend and for impulse and for high margin items. So that's why I kind of brought this up today, because I think that is so important. Oops. All right. Let me jump back in here. Okay. Any questions about that? I can see everybody now.
Lots of good comments. Not too many questions on that yet. But
this makes me nervous when no questions, because then that means I've really overwhelmed everybody. Oh, let's see. I did this with a couple orders and was shocked. Made me a quick learner. Yeah. It really does. I love that you take the time, Heather. I love that you took the time to do that. And we want to do things that's worth our time. Your time is so valuable. I always say you're the very best employee you have in your business. You're the one showing up early and staying late and putting in the extra effort. So every decision you made, it's supposed to benefit you, not hurt you. And sometimes growth is slow, right? Growth is very slow at times. And we need to be patient, but at the end of the day, we need to be wise about our decisions that we make. not just fall into the trap of, oh my gosh, that's the cutest little blazer I've ever seen. I'm sure somebody's going to buy it. Let me get it.
Quick question, Sarah. If it doesn't sell at 40% off, how much time do you wait to mark it down further? And then likewise, Kristen's asking, is it bad to then just like destash it, put it on Poshmark? Like there's so many other options of where you can go once you've done your initial markdown.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very true. Very true. So, everything and everybody's business is a little different because I know, I can't see everybody on camera here today, but I know there's resort stores here. I know there's resort stores here that are killing it with the swimwear and the shorts right now. So you'd be amiss to say, oh, I got it in April, I have to discount it right now. You know, if you have new customers coming through your door, that's a different story. But if you are looking and you're traditionally bringing in a lot of the same customers over and over, and if you ever have somebody say, that was here the last time I was here, or I already have that, and you're still running those at full price and you only have 2 of them left, that's really, really risky. So pay attention to your customers, pay attention to what they're telling you, verbally telling you, and also telling you with their dollars. But that first cut, say 40% off, the next one, say 50 or 60% off. If it has to go on a $5 or $10 rack, those last chances, you know, single, ready to mingle, all the things that people call those onesies, so be it. But my other thing about markdowns is not only is it going to free up your cash and turn things back into cash, but my energy is not going to be spent trying to sell something I don't make a profit on anymore. Once it hits that 50 to 60% off, if you are priced it at a 3-time markup or more, yes, you still have some cash to be gained out of that. But if you are pricing it at, say, 2.5 markup, or even 3 times markup, and it's hitting that 60 to 75% off, you guys, your return on that investment is so low that I do encourage you guys to go ahead and cut the cord, put it in a grab bag, right? Give it as a gift with purchase. Talk to your accountant before you donate anything. That is my one advice. Everybody's states and everybody's business is a little bit different depending on what type of entity you are and, you know, just your business structure itself, as far as, you know, where your cash flow is, what your financials look like. But you very well it might be in your best interest to just bag that stuff up and take it somewhere. I personally would never encourage you guys to donate that to your local thrift store or your local Goodwill store. And if you do, take the tags off of it. Don't ever let your hang tag show up at a thrift store or a Goodwill near you, ever. I personally, in our store, there was a church that we could donate things to, and they would give them to a battered women's shelter or a Dress for Success program. And a rehab center, and that's what we did. But we clipped all the tags off of it. I've also done an inventory swap. I'd also worked with another store across the river in Iowa from me, and we did an inventory swap, my sales stuff for her sales stuff. And that was a great way for me to find new buyers or new inventory vendors and lines for my stores, because they, you know, things that I didn't know if I really want to take the risk on investing in, but as it turns out, come to find out, her sales stuff sold full price for me. Same for my sales stuff on her end. Lots of different opportunities.
Very good. All right, Sarah, do you want to talk retail bootcamp? Do you want to take some questions if anyone wants to raise their hand and ask their question out loud?
Yeah. Let's see. I just saw a question about this. So yeah, here is the retail bootcamp information. This is the course that we've been talking about today, yesterday as well, when I said we go into things deeper. I was actually working with somebody earlier today, and you guys, this is the workbook for retail bootcamp. It's pretty robust. And of course I have my notes and stuff all over it, but, the course is the workbook and the layers of your online course and the live training with Ashley and I. So it is a pretty robust course that is open right now. Yeah.
I'm curious how many of you guys are here that have already, I see Teresa, I see Mary, I see Heather. How many times have you guys gone through retail bootcamp? Because the cool part is so many of you, you know, it's lifetime access. So you get in once And then 2 times a year, every single year, you join us for live coaching. It's like we get to be your ongoing coaches throughout the life of your business, twice a year, every year. So if that's you, Meredith says 4 times, Valerie more times than I can remember. We get so excited by having everyone back. And, July 8th, we're going to do orientation for this semester. And then July 10th, I believe, is our first round of coaching. But the industry is always changing. The economy is always changing. Business is always changing. So everything we cover, we try to make it as recent to what is working right now as possible.
Yeah.
Is there a digital book? Oh, let me explain. So there's online modules you get access to immediately. You can watch those anytime. They go through the 6 layers of retail that we've been talking about. And then those modules, we review them every single week live. Every Wednesday, 10 a.m. It's about a 90-minute call. And we'll cover 1 layer every 2 weeks. So it's a lot of information. So we try to take 2 weeks per layer that we cover. And then every Thursday, our guest experts will come in and join us. So it's not always what you know, but it's who you know. So we try to deep dive. And if there's someone who is an absolute HR expert, or Christine Gray comes in and helps with a lot of the inventory and profit first pieces, we try to connect you guys with other experts in these fields as well. And then again, we have that trip together that will go on, our retreat in LA in late September, early October. And then the workbook. So you can print out the workbook yourself, or we have like a printed out and spiral bound version we can just shoot off in the mail to you as another part of the program as well. All right. If you guys have questions for Sara today, again, be thinking about those. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand in just a minute. We'll do some more Q&A. Any other retail bootcamp questions? We saw a ton of you jump into boot camp yesterday. So that's always exciting to see some new fresh faces join us each and every round. It's different from joining the hub, Jennifer. Yep. So joining retail bootcamp is kind of like your college level course where we're going to say, we're going to work on step by step these 6 layers of your business. And you're going to be implementing as we're coaching for these 14 weeks. Joining the boutique hub as a member of the hub, that's what gets you access to our entire community, all of our perks and discounts for members, access to savings on Hubventory, the wholesale platform Sara showed you, the invitations to live events. There is a massive training library and some weekly live training in our membership for the boutique hub as well. But it's more like topic driven versus boot camp is like, again, a college level course where we're saying step by step by step, this is what we're going to do in this cadence. So most people are actually doing both, because with a lot of the savings and perks we have for our members that will typically pay for memberships, $39 a month, the savings will typically be in addition to that, like over and above what it costs to be a member of the hub. So that's why a lot of people do both. Boot camp, you can enroll, you can pay in full, or there is a 4-part payment plan for boot camp. And again, it's kind of like cost per use, right? When you do it 6-7 times, like a lot of these guys have done, and you get live coaching twice a year, every year, that definitely decreases over time, that investment, as you just enroll once.
Yeah, in the workbook, once you enroll, you will get access to either print the workbook, download the workbook yourself, or request the printed version. So, but it's only available to you once you've enrolled in the class. And
Shannon,
yes,
what about for
great for a new boutique as well. I actually have worked with a lot of brand new stores that took retail boot camp, and their thought on that was they actually started their business off on the right foot and avoided a lot of the costly mistakes that I know I did when I started my business.
Jennifer says, I'm a jewelry brand. I'm not sure what to join. I'm not a boutique. So for membership at the Boutique Hub, we have both retailers, so of all types, not just women's apparel, which you hear a lot about, but all types. And then we have brands as well that sell wholesale to our boutique members. So the education is fitting for both, whether you're retail or wholesale, or you're retailer, you're a brand. And then the opportunity to sell to one another is different depending on how you join there. As far as retail bootcamp goes, we have a lot of like product-based businesses who maybe aren't boutiques that join retail bootcamp. So jewelry brands, same thing. Like a lot of the things that we're going to cover when it comes to all the operations of your business, team, marketing, sales strategy, e-commerce management, content would be applicable no matter what. All right, other questions?
I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a second. I can't see everybody. I feel like I need to see more people. Oh, I got you. Never mind. Okay. Oh, somebody asked, I see a question. So going along with inventory management, who was it? Bree, I'm assuming you use management one. Bree, I'm assuming you use management one. If you are, she asked, can you describe how this would relate to management one? Management one is an inventory management service. And what happens with the retailer is they can send their data in. Management one will analyze the data, send them back an open to buy plan, a markdown strategy plan, all of the things. So I think what your question was is how does Retail Bootcamp incorporate that? Mary with Management One, Dane, Paul, they're partners of ours here at the Boutique Hub. They do a lot of guest expert coaching inside Retail Bootcamp. So you get a lot of that expertise from Management One inside Retail Bootcamp. But not only do we dive into all the inventory things inside Retail Bootcamp, what supports the inventory investing is the foundations of your business, the products and all the profit, being able to read balance sheets, P&Ls, cash flow statements, all of those things. Then all of your team trainings, team coaching, I guess. I think there's a shift in the industry going away from the word of training as coaching, and getting your team involved and all rowing in the right direction. So there's the team, then the sales, all the sales strategy, what platform to be on, verbiage for sales strategy, markdown strategy, merchandising strategy, photography lessons, all of those kind of things. Then all the content and, what you're putting out there to your customers, all the content you're creating, plus then all your marketing. So Retail Bootcamp works alongside Management One. It works alongside of Management One, but it's so much more robust than just dealing with inventory. It's all the moving pieces that go into inventory.
Awesome. Sarah, can you go back to the Retail Bootcamp slide?
Yes, sorry.
Laurel, if our Boutique Hub account is under our store owner and other team members, can they go to RBC without? I think your question is, can you all be gone for Retail Bootcamp? So just to clarify, our 14 weeks together in Retail Bootcamp is all via Zoom, like this. And then the only time we're physically together is when we take that trip to LA in October. So we say each store can bring 3 people. Your employees, or maybe you have a partner, they can join Retail Bootcamp with you. You do not have to pay for them. They can log on to the Zoom with you. They can join the group with you. They can go through this process with you. So for example, I have had some like much larger boutiques who have gone through Retail Bootcamp, and now they've come back and said, okay, I've done this. I'm just going to give my employees now access to my account. I want them to go through Retail Bootcamp. I want to use this as a training tool for all of my employees. So we see people doing that as well. But again, you don't have to pay for it. You've already enrolled in it one time. All right. Should we do some additional Q&A? Who just had their hand up here? He disappeared on my screen. Oh, she dropped her hand. Shoot. All right. Other questions on today on inventory management for Sarah, Retail Bootcamp questions, all those things. Sarah, first question I see in the chat, back to inventory. What are some recommended apps that work with Shopify to show recommended pieces to match when purchasing?
I'm just pulling up, we have a tool inside our membership and inside Retail Bootcamp. It's recommended Shopify apps. So I'm pulling that up for you right now. And I wanted to double check on. So there's a couple different things that we recommend, like the one-click upsell is an app that will also add other things and recommend different things to your purchase. Let's see, back in stock was one that also will show, like, once an inventory is out, it shows back up, say frequently bought together app is another really good one. And I was just kind of looking to see if there were some other ones recommended for cross-selling. Vitals is one that it's a product review app, but it also will recommend products that, like, for upsells and cross sells and bundle products together.
All right, Meredith, I see your hand up.
Hi.
Hello.
My name's Meredith. I'm the head buyer at Style Finder Boutique in Raleigh, North Carolina. My CEO and I have been going back and forth lately about how many vendors is the optimal amount of vendors to have. We have a ton of vendors. I would say probably like 75 to 100. But what happens is when you have that many, you're able to create a really beautiful collection of clothing, but sizing is off, of course, between each vendor. So he's wondering if we have less vendors, if we'll have less sizing issues and questions, specifically about returns. And we are e-commerce only, so our return rate is pretty high. So I wanted to see what you guys thought is like a good happy medium.
Ugh. I don't have a good happy medium because really, I mean, everybody's store is so different on your assortment of what you're offering, but I'm in this, I will say less vendors I feel is better. Building that loyalty, and often I just say that because a lot of times when I see stores that just buy like 2 shirts from one vendor, 2 shirts from another vendor, you're paying so much shipping. Like there's when you buy a little deeper from vendors, often individual packs are able to absorb the shipping rate, right? Again, your sizing is more consistent. There's definitely a story to be told there. But also what tends to happen is we as buyers, investors, we tend to invest in very similar things from different vendors. So we can get too much assortment and too many of very similar things, which creates brain fog, overload. I can't make a decision. Let me just get the heck out of here. I'm off the page, right? Or they're always wondering, do I buy that one or do I buy that one, to the point where they're confused. They buy one and all of a sudden they're like, oh, I knew I should have got that other one. You guys are the only ones that know how many, let's just use royal blue blazers there are out on the market. When you present 2 or 3 options in your store, the customer's got, okay, there's 3 options, not 45. So typically sometimes when we order from multiple vendors, it can all start to look very, very similar, which creates, doesn't create the assortment we're really looking for. Plus the other thing is the deliveries tend to be all over the place. You have to keep up with so many different returns. If you have an issue back to the vendor, the fees and extra, it really does add up. So if you find a few good vendors that you like, know, and trust, they give you your cell phone, you have them on call, right? And they have a wide variety of items. They listen to your feedback. Staying loyal to them to me is better than just going really shallow across the board on so many different vendors. Can I ask you, are you primarily clothing?
We're only clothing, yeah.
Only clothing. And how many vendors did you say you have right now?
I just did that list. So I would say probably around 50 to 75.
Yeah.
So we're going really shallow to kind of curate things, which is great. Our customers love that. But it would be a lot less time if I could just go deeper in, some of our main vendors.
Yeah, and I believe I believe you could. That to me, it sounds like craziness. Over a period of 60 years in our store, we maybe had that many vendors that we'd work with.
Okay.
So if you can get it down to, I would challenge you to get it down to like the 15 that you really like, know, and trust. And maybe you could even whittle it down a little bit from there.
Cool. Yeah, I think part of the problem is when I started in this position, they had major brands like Liverpool as the example, and Claire's and Woo, those are 2 of our biggest brands, but they're not very good margin builders. So over the last 2 years, we've added a lot of more trend or fast fashion brands to kind of help that margin and get that up higher.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally understand. Yep. And with that, you may find that you've got your, say, 10 core brands. And then when you're dabbling in margin and you're dabbling in trend and you're dabbling in impulse, you're going to have to go with some different vendors on some of those things, especially those margin builders. Right? Because Liverpool is not, you just said it, they're not coming at you with a great opportunity for a ton of margin builder items. Or just maybe it's even the impulse buy items.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, great question. Who else?
All right, I'm scrolling up. I saw one more. We probably have time for one more after this one. So if anyone wants to raise their hand, we'll do one more live question. Connie says, I'm new. I just started my website 2 months ago, started out doing drop shipping. And Sarah, the reason I bring this up, there's been several drop shipping questions.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Pros and cons of drop shipping. She's saying now she is looking to purchase wholesale inventory to go with the drop shipping as well. Also purchased previously loved clothing, name brand, and I priced it accordingly to the average online pricing or the markup. Your thoughts? So kind of 3 things there.
Okay, so the drop shipping question. So I'll just address drop shipping for everyone. Basically what that is you are capturing the information about a product. Maybe you're investing and I'm the company you're drop shipping from. So I hold all the inventory, but maybe Ashley's store uses my pictures and uses my copy or gets a sample of the one item, puts it out on their website, puts it out on a live sale. And then the customers that buy it are actually buying it from you, but I fulfill it. So the drop shipper is fulfilling it. So it takes less risk on the boutique owner. They don't have to store it, warehouse it, anything like that. But there's a few different ways to make that work better. But I feel like in your question, what you're saying is now you're seeing the margins are typically lower there too, right? The risk is lower, but the margins are typically lower. So you're looking at investing in some other wholesale products for you to own on your own and mix that back in. So, and that's traditionally, we've always seen a lot of stores own their inventory, drop ship a little bit, but since COVID, I have seen a big switch. I've seen some stores, because I mean, every YouTube video and TikToker is telling you drop ship, drop ship, drop ship. Well, the problem is drop shipping tends to start to look the same. I mentioned a lot of, if you're using their photos, the drop shipping company's photos and their copy, not only does your customer think the picture looks the same, which it does, Google also is like, alert, alert, alert. I've seen that exact same copy on 45 different stores. Nothing new, boring. I'm not showing it to anybody. Right. So therefore there is that need to jump in or want to jump in and own your own inventory. How you market that to your customer is a little bit different. The conversation, I always like to say, if I buy 3 things from a store and 2 of them are going to be fulfilled by the store and 1 of them is going to be shipped different, making sure you've let the customer know that it's going to be coming from a different venue or a different warehouse, being received different. So there's no confusion there, but tracking that inventory and tracking your profit, that is definitely a challenge, because your cost of goods sold is totally different on what you own, right? And the money that is being brought in, there's all the fees. Remember when I talked about the net and the gross? The drop shipping takes a lot more, real fast. And sometimes we can get false metrics, false hope on when we just look at that gross money coming in. What was the second part of that question? Sorry, I was trying to scroll up to see it because I missed what you'd said earlier.
It was about the drop shipping, and then she said she was also bringing in for the first time wholesale specific pieces from vendors. And then third was she was bringing in consignment I don't know that she said consignment, but
pre-loved items.
You gotta be careful with the balance of all of that and what brand you're creating.
Yeah, absolutely. And, everybody's store is a little bit different, and, how you price products, what I've paid for a bottle of water at the gas station versus a brewer game, totally different, right? So who's your customer and where are you selling it at? What types? I've been to gently used pre-loved stores in downtown Nashville that are still wanting $800 for a jacket, right? And they're getting it. I would not get that here in Lancaster at a gently used store. My audience is totally different. So again, you will hear me say this 1,000 times, but it's all about who is your customer and how proud of those items are you. However proud of them you are is going to cascade back to your customers.
All right, last call. I don't see any other new questions in the chat. I don't believe I've missed you, and I don't see anyone else's hand up. So that is it for today. Tomorrow, plan for tomorrow, just so you guys can get this on your minds. Tomorrow is all about your time, your productivity, you as the CEO of your business, right? I know so often, like Sara said in her example yesterday, just talking about the, 13,000 different hats we all wear as business owners and retailers, and trying to do it all and wondering, like, is my time being well spent on this thing, or should I be putting it somewhere else? And how do I be a great retailer and be great in my business, but then also go home? And many of you have families and other obligations and probably want to have a hobby at some point in your life too. How do you balance all of that for a business that's sustainable long term? That's really going to be the conversation of tomorrow, is leadership and you being a CEO versus being a hustling entrepreneur. Sara, more thoughts?
Man, I see we did not go into open to buy planning today, you guys. There's a lot there. It's a very detailed conversation. I did drop my email address. You guys, please feel free to reach out to me, and let's get some of those questions answered, especially those of you guys that are in retail boot camp. You guys know you can always reach out to me. Happy to help. But that is something that we go into. Management One is there to help inside retail boot camp. We also bring in some other guest experts, because getting that roadmap to what exactly do I invest in and when is so crucial to go to market and have a plan. It's like Ashley mentioned yesterday, when you're going on summer vacation, you would not set out on a summer vacation from New York to California without a map, without any idea of how you're going to get there. You would if you just had the endless resources, endless time, right? But if you are on a budget of time, you're on a budget of cash, you're going to go the fastest, quickest way, most efficient way possible. That's the same way it is with investing in your inventory. Time is money, and the clock is ticking on that inventory. So therefore, having that buying plan is so important. Having that buying plan is so important. I hope today was helpful. I love talking about this kind of stuff. And I hope there was just a couple little things that you were able to take away. Like, okay, I need to go run those numbers on my business, on my inventory. And I kind of assess a few different things and look at what my markdown strategy is or isn't. Like, what do I need to do better? All good things. And for all of you guys that have taken retail boot camp, if you guys are interested, you guys know that we're always loving to hear your user testimonials. Jeff messaged us this morning, and he's like, I want to hear from some of the boutique or retail boot campers in the past. So if you guys have something you wanted to say, please message me. I want to give you guys that opportunity to have a voice and share. I love hearing feedback from you guys as well. It helps us do better with the course. So.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Great job showing up today. We will see you back here tomorrow. Last day, best day. We will send out the replay as well. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.